The Detroit Red Wings beat Trevor Zegras and the Anaheim Ducks 2-1 in overtime. Scotty and I could not be happier.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You know, Scotty, when that graphics play, you're still dancing.
I dance. That's what I do. Sneak peek. I just jam out, man. Our intro goes hard.
It
bro.
does. I've heard
hard.
others, like, because they're all similar in how they're played out, but they have different background music. Ours bops. You know what?
Hard.
I've listened to some of the Tigers ones.
I was just gonna say that. I was gonna say, if you listen to Tigers, bro, our slaps too, man. Ours is cold.
Yeah, that beat is cold, but like. So the people can't see what goes on behind that graphic, but we have like a little backstage area where you can see the two of us like off to the side. And I'm always watching us, what we're doing in there. And I like, I just saw you like dancing today, going to it. We're feeling good today, Scott.
You know what's funny? You know what's messed up? I can't see Brian.
You can't see me?
He can see me. I can't see Brian.
Dude, for like a week straight, I was dabbing. And I was trying to see if you would like say something.
No, I can only see myself, man. I can't see you. You could see me. It's a one of those one-way mirror situations.
Yeah. Maybe because I'm like running the show from the website. Interesting. Because I would always do it ironically to see if you would say something.
So how do you feel now that you've just doing it to nobody? Does that make you feel stupid?
Yes.
I love you, Brian.
I love you too. Welcome back to Lockdown Red Wings. We're your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley. Thanks for making us your first listen every single day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. And we've been killing it everywhere. January was another great month for us. Over 20,000.
One of our best months ever, man.
Every month is one of our best months ever, man. And it's
Damn
just
right.
Over 20,000 downloads through Spotify, Apple, Google, Odyssey, and then an additional 3,000 through YouTube views. And that's just incredible.
1K all on one video, by the way.
That Ken Holland video.
That Ken Holland. Yeah, man. People, and like, thank you. I mean, like that's
yes.
You know, that's awesome, man. Those evergreen topics are always fun to bring up for that reason. You know, you can go back at any time and it's always relevant.
Yeah, and we can't thank you guys enough for like you guys help make this so much fun to
Absolutely.
have people listening who are as passionate about the Red Wings as we are. And you help perpetuate conversation. We've gone back and looked at comments that you guys leave on our Twitter page.
Yeah, the interactions make our lives so much easier, man. Like I don't think people understand unless they've been in this position. Like interactive listeners makes your job 10 million times easier.
Yeah,
so
you
like
guys interact.
Forever grateful, definitely.
We got a couple of faithful YouTube commenters too. One of them mentioned, JM, I see you. I see you every single YouTube episode.
Every single episode, baby.
You're the dog.
Yeah. That's
You're
the dog. That's the dog for sure.
We appreciate each and every one of you. Red Wings today.
We appreciate the Red Wings, don't we?
Appreciate the Red Wings.
You know what we do?
We ball.
We ball.
We ball. For once, I was like, "Is he going there yet already?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, of course he's going there." It's Scotty.
Come on, baby.
We won the second half of the Calder Bowl.
Damn right.
Red Wings lost in Anaheim, but come home and beat them in overtime here. It was an overtime game again against the Ducks.
It was.
But it was a good-ass game through and through.
Phenomenal game. Like, visually pleasing to watch. And that's honestly rare with a game that usually the really, really fun ones like that are, high scoring or at least games with a lot of shots. This game didn't have a ton of shots either way, but was still so entertaining start to finish.
Well, and that's the thing that was jarring. And, admittedly, because I work at the arena in the team store, I don't always get to see every second of every single game. I saw a real good chunk of that third period and all of overtime. But I remember texting you at one point, Scotty, where I was like, the Ducks have 12 shots on net. Has the defense been really good? And you're like, not really. And then I remembered in our crossover with Jason Hernandez, he had mentioned that the Ducks don't take a lot of shots. It's all capitalizing on the shots they do take. And at the end of the game, I just want to look at it just to make sure. Yeah,
15.
through overtime, The Ducks
Ended with
only had 15 shots on net. You would think that'd be a boring game, but no, that was a tight neck and neck race the entire time. Wings had, I think, finished with 28 shots on net, but just fun game all the way through. And these two teams are just so fun to watch.
It's, and we'll get back into this game specifically, but I think that this is the start of a very healthy Eastern Conference, Western Conference rivalry that's going to be around for a while. I think both of these teams are heading up at the right time. The Ducks are obviously to the moon, as the youths would say. They're going up both at the same time, and the Ducks obviously are a little bit ahead of us right now in our rebuild, like planning or schedule. But we're gonna have another big hefty group of kids come up next year. They're gonna get McTavish back and have another more reinforcements. They're gonna have an off season. I just think both of these two teams have the potential to be dominant forces at the top of their conferences for a while. And I think that, especially with the Zegras versus Raymond and Sider thing that's already going on a national level, I really do believe that this could be a very rare out of conference, like big time rivalry that could be beginning right in front of our eyes and could last for years down the road.
Oh, I 100% agree. And I think the downside to developing rivalry like that is the fact that you only play each other twice a year. And the only way to meet each other in the playoffs is Eastern Conference, Western Conference, or maybe a pandemic, as we had two Eastern Conference teams in the Stanley Cup final this past season.
Right.
But I think, like you said, with the trajectory these two teams are on, that at least on social media, I think the fans are going to be at each other's throats for the next 10 years to come. But as far as individual performances go in this game, I think out of everyone, the first person I want to give a shout out to is Gustav Lindstrom. Quite possibly the best game he's played all season. And a lot of people, I think a lot of Detroit
I don't even think
fans,
it's possibly. I think it is.
Yes. I think a lot of Detroit Red Wings fans I've started to realize he's been very good this season. I remember Jay Fresh posted, everyone's favorite, Jay Fresh, on Twitter, posted his hockey WAR percentage. He's got a WAR percentage of 83, which means he's in the top 17% of defensemen in the league right now in terms of, of wins above replacement, which is just absolutely phenomenal for basically a depth defenseman. He has been a solid defenseman in the back end all season long, and he showed up tonight on the score sheet getting an assist on Larkin's goal, and he absolutely annihilated one of the Anaheim Ducks players behind the net.
He got the arms into him, man.
Tossed him.
Yeah, man. He threw a body today. He threw a body.
Yeah, it was nasty, and it's something that you love to see. I think that's part of the development, a part of the rebuild that these teams go through. Is you hope these guys who you don't necessarily let's be honest, I don't think anyone really expected Gustav Lindstrom to come into the season this year and be as good as he is, but he has. He's been a surprise for sure. I mean, there are going to be some people who are like, I called it. I didn't call it. I thought Gustav Lindstrom would be a nice, 6th or 7th defenseman. He's proven that he could possibly be top 4 pairing, not top pairing, but that second pair defenseman at his peak. He has been solid defenseman for the Red Wings, and he has been continuing to grow at a very steady rate. So by the time this team's ready to compete, he's going to be peaking, and he's starting to peak, baby.
He is. He had a fantastic game tonight, and in all regards, he looked really good defensively. His positioning was really solid. The passing was really solid. I mean, he was on one tonight, and if that's a sign of things to come, and like you said, I mean, in the short time that he's been able to prove himself, he has been playing very well too. It's just we haven't really given him that opportunity to have a bigger role, and he stepped into one tonight, and it was great.
Yeah, and I think that as the team goes on, we'll see more of him. He's not a productive defenseman, and that's why I think he got overlooked for a long time. Is he's only got 7 assists in the 30-some games that he's played. And you don't really pay attention to guys who don't show up on the score sheet. And I think people are just now realizing, oh, hey, when this guy's on the ice, the Wings don't get scored on as much. And that's kind of valuable in the NHL, not getting scored on.
Yeah, that's like, the whole point. And
Yeah.
and to our conversation earlier, only 15 shots against, the defense wasn't it wasn't
Wasn't
stellar. It
No,
wasn't.
it never
And
is.
right. And it was, besides Sider, but most Sider played a hell of a defensive game today, by the way.
Yeah, whenever we talk about the defense, we always just we don't even talk about Moritz Seider individually as often as we did at the start of the season because it's just expected that he's going to excel at this point.
He was phenomenal tonight. He was phenomenal, and it wasn't a big score sheet night for him, but he's a defenseman, and he was exceptional defensively. But there was a lot of opportunities for the Ducks had. They just missed the net a lot, or just eventually kept missing the net and eventually would turn the puck over. We did have a pretty good night in terms of, the poke checks were fantastic. I don't know where that came from. The forecheck was pretty solid, but I think it's nice. It's nice to, to look at a score sheet and be like, oh, we only gave up 15 shots, but there were still so many opportunities the Ducks had. And there are a lot of teams out there that are going to take advantage of those opportunities. And we've played a lot of them, right? There's plenty of teams that would find a lane or take advantage and not miss wide and just put a puck on net there. So while it's not as good as it looks, we'll still gladly take it. And we got a dub, and I'm not going to sit here and complain about anything in a win.
Yeah, and there's definitely some more things to talk good about. We got to talk about Larkin
sure.
yet.
Absolutely.
We got 2 points tonight. Ned had a nice bounce back game, although he might not have been tested the most. Good to see him, put up a .930 save percentage in a game.
Absolutely.
And then obviously the overtime result, because that's like the big draw of this game. But first, I got to talk to you guys today about betonline.net. Betonline.net, guys, it changed. Net. There might be less football being played, but betonline.net has way more odds and info this playoff season, from scores, totals, player performance props to where the next fired coach is going to land. BetOnline is the #1 spot for all the things NFL betting is in 2022. And it's not just football. BetOnline.net's basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC coverage is the best in the business. From sports right down to your favorite Vegas casino games, BetOnline is your #1 online wagering destination. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports and play your favorite games. BetOnline, where the game starts.
BetOnline.
That part is never going to change. They might change from .ag to .net, but it's always going to be BetOnline. All right, Scotty. Let's roll right into segment 2 here. Talk about our boy Dylan Larkin. He
the
dog continues to be an absolute train, like a beast, a tank, whatever obscene adjective you want to use to explain how good he has been this season. Started off the game with an amazing goal, beating the defender on the outside, going from forehand to backhand, beating Gibson over his shoulder far side.
Dog.
Dude.
How you casually gonna beat an all-star goalie backhand over his left shoulder? How are you gonna do that, Dylan? How are you gonna do that casually? Nasty.
It was absolutely disgusting. And it's just like, he does that and you go, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, you don't question it anymore.
That's the messed up part. That's messed up. To be having that good of a season and be that talented of a player to where you can do something like that and everybody's like, yeah, that's just Dylan Larkin, man. Like, oh, goodness. What? Well, I was so hyped.
This is what, game 43 or 44 on the season for the Detroit Red Wings, and he's at 23 goals. And I'm looking at this, I'm like, if he continues this pace, he could. It'd be tough. He'd have to keep up an insane pace the rest of the season, but he could get 40 goals.
He could. He already has. I think tonight he has the highest goal total he's had in a season since 17-18.
When he got 30, I think.
Tonight, he's already got the most he's had in the last whatever that is 3-4 years.
Gonna hit 30.
And yeah, That's not even a discussion. Yeah, it's a matter of how close he gets to 40 at this point than it is if he hits 30.
Yeah, and the thing too is he opened the scoring the other night against Toronto as well in the first minute and 15 seconds. It's almost like he plays well throughout the entire game. We've talked about how he's been such a consistent two-way forward. Like, he plays both sides of the ice really well.
Can I just – his defense the last 3 games has been sensational.
Well, and that's the thing.
Sensational defense the last couple of games. Like,
one
noticeably.
of the things that Jeff Blashill kept talking about when he preached patience the last 2 years with Dylan Larkin and Philip Zadina's production is that you're not seeing it on the score sheet right now, but the things away from the puck, they have gotten immensely better with. And obviously the Philip Zadina one is still a hot topic because the score production hasn't picked back up like Blashill predicted. But with Larkin, it's come back in full force. So now he's perfected. I wouldn't say perfected his defensive game, but it is leagues better than where it was, to the point where now the production is back too, because playing the defensive side of the puck leads the production on the offensive side. And he's a complete package. He's got 23 goals on the season. He's 43 points in 41 games, over a point per game, which is always going to be elite. I don't care who you talk to. If you're over a point per game, you're an elite player in this league. And he's just got, like, him scoring in the first period to open the scoring for the Red Wings is just commonplace. He comes out of the gate. Even when the team is flat, he is the one player that always comes out of the gate on firing on all cylinders.
Absolutely.
So when he gets the first goal for the Red Wings, you go, of course it was Larkin. Like, that's just what he does. Like, you're not surprised by it anymore. He does it.
He goes to work. He goes to work, and that's what he does, baby. I also think an underrated or maybe overlooked thing is that's attributed a lot to his offense is Mo Seider, weirdly enough, because if he makes a good defensive play in our zone, being able to turn around and just flick the puck to Mo Seider, then turn on the Larkin burners, go down ice, go through the neutral zone, go into the opponent's zone, and the puck's already waiting for you because Seider is such a good quarterback. The team is set up so much better for the success of Dylan Larkin and in turn then the success of the team. And it's the best that we've seen in years.
It's almost like teams are better when they're supporting pieces, right? Weird.
It's crazy, bro. Ken Holland never figured it out either.
Actually, on that Larkin goal too, to play into what we were talking about in the first segment with Gustav Lindstrom, Gustav Lindstrom facilitated that play. He got the puck up to Zadina, who made a nice pass cross ice to Larkin, who was doing exactly what you're talking about. He had the burners coming out of the defensive zone. He burned that defenseman so easily on the outside.
He's so fast.
It's not fair. But Gustav Lindstrom was doing exactly what you were just praising Moritz Seider for. And now, obviously, Lindstrom doesn't have the offensive opposite capabilities that Seider does, but being a solid defenseman in your own end, turning around contributes to good offense in the other end, because gaining the puck back in your own zone leads to breakouts, which leads to scoring chances. It's not rocket science.
It's crazy.
When people say defense wins championship, this is what they mean, because the play starts in your own end.
And we talked about that in Toronto. We talked about that. We talked about how you can't just sit back and win a hockey game, no matter how big of a lead you have. You can't do that. And they sure as hell didn't tonight, man. Put the pressure on them the entire game, put the pressure on the puck the entire game. The neutral zone was still kind of a disaster, and it has been for the last week or so. So that's something that still needs to be shaped up. But as a whole, very, very impressive victory and really, really solid all-around game. It didn't seem to be, some games you have, like the top 6 are really producing and they're kind of just carrying the load for the whole team. I mean, this was really a well-rounded effort and everybody contributed in a pretty solid way.
Yeah, absolutely. Nedeljkovic had, I would call it a good bounce-back game. I mean, he made the saves he was supposed to make. He didn't really get challenged a ton, but still 14 saves on 15 shots. And even if it was like, even if you want to be like, well, he didn't face a lot of shots, that could be a good, like, get your head right kind of game.
Absolutely.
Where you have an easy game after a few rough games, you make the saves you're supposed to, you build on that. So even if, like, you may want to make the argument, devil's advocate, that he didn't really get challenged in this game, still made the saves he was supposed to, put the team in a position to win, build off of that. get back to the Ned, because the last few games Ned hasn't been standing on his head, and will never be hard on Ned because he's been standing on his head all season. Named to the NHL's All Rookie team, which the writers choose. Throw that in there. A little plug for future content that we're going to talk about. He looked good tonight. He made the saves he was supposed to. Although he still sometimes scares me when he comes out of the net to play the puck.
He's so aggressive, dog.
Ridiculous.
He's so aggressive, and
he wears that 39 with pride.
Yeah, like I love him to death, and he'll live by it and die by it. And I wouldn't want to change him for anything, but he definitely still has his moments where you're like, whoa, hey, but no, he had a couple tonight, didn't he? Jeez.
Yeah. Can we talk about too? I just noticed this, but like I never thought it. Oh, well, thank you, buddy. I needed that. He's wearing Manta's number, which obviously was Hasek's number, but we never thought about how weird it was that Manta was wearing what basically was a goaltender's number.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. I mean, like
Manta wore that jersey last year. That
Manta
number
was kind of weird. So like in
it
a great way. I love Anthony Manta, like in a very good weird, but like
yeah, he was a streaky player, hot and cold. But I always associate the number 39 with Dominic Hasek and goaltenders. But for years, Manta wore it, and I never thought anything about it. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that was the same number. Because it was different positions, I didn't think about it. Anyways, off topic. Also got to talk to you guys today about Rock Auto.
That is one of your worst transitions of all time. Let me just say.
Well, thank you. I can't always be on top of it. We're recording this late at night. I got home from work. It's literally 1:06 in the morning right now, Scotty. Like, I might be bad at transitioning, but Rock Auto is good at what they do.
That's the Brian I know and love.
There we go.
That's it.
With the ever-increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing only brands that their warehouse happens to carry? You have a computer with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. You can save time and money when using rockauto.com. Why choose to spend 30, 50, even 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or car dealership? Rock Auto is also a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. That's how you know you're not going to get price gouged. This isn't some big corporation. This is family owned. They're doing this because they love what they do. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Right, Locked On in there. How did you hear about us box? So they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. RockAuto.com. We got to do .com like that for every read. It's a perfect way to end it. Speaking of perfect way to end the game, Jordan Oesterle.
He took that criticism and he said, all right, I'm going to let that motivate me to be great. That's what Brian Fisher did. On the spot, too. That's an in-game adjustment. That's the great ones have that. That's between the ears. That's what legends are made of.
As the youth would say, my stocks are to the moon. To the moon. My God, we're ridiculous. The end of that game against the Anaheim Ducks, it goes to overtime. Nick Leddy is out because during the game, Trevor Zegras boarded him. Nick Leddy could not return, forcing Jordan Oesterle into a role he's not quite used to, which is being on the ice in high-pressure situations. A 3-on-3 overtime. Jordan Oesterle is out there, and he scores the game winner. But that also couldn't have happened. An incredible chain of events. If the ref hadn't have blown the play dead when Gibson tried to play the puck. Yes. The ref was behind Gibson, thought he had covered it when Gibson had scooped it with his glove and tried to slide it. Gibson was pissed.
He was very upset because all three Red Wings were behind the net.
Yeah,
I mean that would have been trouble. That might have been game on the other way. I mean they would have had a 2-on-0 breakaway. That would have been tough.
So they blow the play dead. They get an offensive zone face-off, the Red Wings. Jonah Larkin wins the face-off back right to Jordan Oesterle, who just rips one. And for the first time, it took a half a season, 25 games played in his book. First goal as a Red Wing.
One time for the one time.
Native. Just Great way to do it. Storybook ending, and it wouldn't have happened if Trevor Zegras hadn't have aborted Nicoletti. It wouldn't have happened if the ref hadn't blown the call dead. And it's just, and you could see it on the ice after during the post game celebration. Every single player came up to Oesterle like individually and just like hugged him and like gave shook his head and stuff, stuff that hockey players do on the ice. And you could tell that it was a long time coming for him, and that him being from Michigan, that goal meant way more. And it's just it's so nice to see.
Also, like, he had a really, really big the one goal that we gave up was very significant. I'm not going to say entirely, because I don't think any goal is entirely any one person's fault. But
yeah, there's like a chain of events leading up to that situation.
He had a really bad pass. A really bad neutral zone pass that got intercepted and immediately netted. Like, the only goal we gave up was an Oesterle mistake. And then he gets to win it in overtime for his first goal. Storybook stuff.
He was just Disney setting it up for him to be the hero. He did it on purpose.
Of course.
Also, fun fact, Scotty, that goal was Jordan Oesterle's 69th point in his career.
You know what that is?
It's fate.
It's nice.
It's nice. It is very nice.
It's real nice.
I just came across that stat.
No, that's nice, man.
That's very nice.
But he's nice with it.
He's not a defenseman who's would normally be an everyday guy for the Detroit Red Wings. I mean, before Troy Stecher got hurt, he was in and out of the lineup based on. I mean, there was a solid month of the season where he hadn't played yet because there was no room on the roster, and then Troy Stecher went down, and DeKaiser's been scratched 3 games.
There was room, but there wasn't room for him. Like, he didn't get dressed, but there were players that
he could have subbed in for.
Maybe a player specifically that he probably could have subbed in for a little more often.
Is it a certain player that missed the last 3 games?
Yeah.
Congratulations, by the way, to Danny DeKaiser, completely unrelated, on the birth of his new daughter.
Yes. No, like, seriously, like, joking aside, that's awesome. So congrats to him, for real.
Yeah. Which is, I would assume, is probably why he missed today's game. I mean,
Yeah, today's game makes sense. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's why he's missed the last 2.
The 2 before that, yeah.
But we weren't told anything otherwise. So it's not. I mean, it's not even worth our time to like be like, oh, why is Danny DeKaiser missing time? Like, that's not even a worthwhile conversation. But like, interesting at least.
Yeah, but so I mean, there's this story of Jordan Oesterle is just a really. It's nothing else but feel good. I mean, he goes from a guy who wasn't even playing with the Red Wings this season. He's just the extra guy they signed to guys go down. And he has to step up into the lineup, and then the player isn't performing. And for we're not going to speculate why Danny Kaiser's not playing because they haven't told us. Now he's slotted in the top line role with Moritz Seider. I mean, that's a great guy to be paired with. And now he scores the game winner in overtime for his first goal as a Red Wing in front of his hometown team. Like, great story from his perspective in the fact that he went from not playing at all to winning games in overtime. Like, he might not be the best defenseman on the team, but I root for Jordan Oesterle. He's just one of those guys that's really easy to root for. He
is. No, he is. He's. There's always great stories like that, man, and this is why sports are great, man. This is why sports are great. This is why sports are the greatest thing in the world. Never mind.
No, you're right. You're good. Like, you're good.
Was that wrong?
I just remembered that Phil Pronik, goal or no goal? Got it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Got a couple minutes left. We can hammer this out.
Not to be like that guy, but
be that guy.
No, you're not gonna like it. It could have gone either way, and I would have agreed with it. Like, I think that was a like very clear like kicking motion. Not really, but it was. He definitely made a motion towards the puck with a skate. I guess there's no difference between a punt and a kick in hockey. A kick is a kick. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a wind up punt kind of a thing. If you make a kicking motion, it's a kicking motion. But that's one that subjectively I really wanted to count. But objectively, kind of taking a step back, I'm very fine with you know, I mean, hindsight's 2020. We ended up winning anyway, so who cares? But like, I'm not mad that it didn't count. I don't think it's an egregious missed call, but if it did count, I wouldn't have been like, wow, we got one. You know what I mean? Like, I really think it could have gone either way, and it wouldn't have. And I could have seen it going either way.
Yeah, when I watched it live, I thought Joe Valeno. Sorry, that's got another guy I had on my list that I want to talk about. That's why I was mentioning it.
Well, when he whiffed.
Yeah, when he absolutely whiffed.
When he strike three to wide open net. Yeah,
that was bad. But I thought Hronek, when he cut towards the net, the puck just happened to bounce off his skate over Gibson. So watching live, I was like, that's a good goal. Like, that was just coincidence. But then watching on replay, I thought I saw like a clear kicking motion from his back foot to make contact with the puck. And then I was like, okay, but did it make contact with anybody else on its way? Because I was like, I could have hit that duck guy right there. And then that's still a good goal because it hit another body before going in. And then it's like, okay, no, I thought it was pretty clear cut. He made a kicking motion, and so it was a no goal. I agreed with the rest, but
again, fair
because it was kind of a pivotal moment in the game. I wanted to get your quick thoughts on.
Yeah, for sure. No, that honestly, I'm pretty. Whatever way it would have gone, I would have understood, and I truly could have seen it go either way. We've seen more egregious kicking motions called goals, and we've seen a lot less not called goals. So like that it really wasn't anything that I'm not trying to play like middleman here, but it really was something I was like, that could go either way, and I totally believe it.
Yeah, when in the end, Red Wings won, so it's all good. All's well that ends well, right?
All good, baby. All good.
Any final thoughts, man?
We ball.
We absolutely ball. Nine God.
Nine God. Turn a 6 upside down. It's a 9 God.
So ridiculous. Thanks for making Locked On Red Wings your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On Bets. They're your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs. Locked On Bets, hosted by your boy Q, with expert insight and analysis from Lee Sterling. They are free and available on all platforms, just like we are. So check us out on YouTube. Maybe hit that like and subscribe button.
I'm dropping this news right now. No one else knows. February, the month for Locked On Tigers to go to YouTube.
Let's LFG, baby. I can't say it. I can't say the F, but LFG, baby.
So keep your eyes peeled. If you follow the Twitter, it'll be on there. Not like tomorrow or anything, but in February, Locked On Tigers will be on Twitter.
That's
on YouTube. Jeez,
you're already on Twitter.
People know that. People know that.
Oh yeah, they do. It's also very clear who's running our Twitter based on the type of.
It's so obvious who's tweeting what. It kills me how painfully obvious it is which one of us is tweeting.
Yeah, it's like. This one's like sappy and sentimental. This one is like, let's go.
This one has all the words spelled correctly and proper punctuation. This one is a bunch of slang terms and is just in all caps.
Yeah. So we'll be back with a new episode tomorrow. And previewing the game on Wednesday against the Kings, I believe.
Is this our last game before the break? Kings?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, cool. So we'll have get some downtime. Maybe we could sneak some people in on here. You know, can't make any promises. I haven't reached out to anyone, but you know, the idea is there. We'll try.
We're getting Nolan back on.
We got to.
If it's the last thing I do. I just talked to him tonight.
What if it is the last thing you do?
On. Then bet. Then mission accomplished.
Oh, now I'm a little scared. It's got dark. Be back tomorrow, guys. Same time, same place. It's your team every day.
Every day.